In any conversation, we may use advocacy and inquiry. There is a time and a place for both, and we all have our preference. But did you know that if you can consciously choose the right combination of advocacy and inquiry, that you can influence the results you get from the conversation? Let's take a look at a model which demonstrates this. First, let's look at a situation where there is no advocacy but lots of inquiry going on. In other words, lots of questions and few statements. This style means the speaker doesn't state their views, but finds out information from the other person by asking questions. This approach can be useful when you need to find out information or want to draw the other person out. But be careful. If used too much, it can feel like an interview or interrogation for the other person. Next, we'll look at a style that relies on lots of advocacy and lots of inquiry. In other words, lots of statements and lots of questions. This style is very collaborative, so it can be useful when you want to foster two-way communication and learning and gain commitment to a course of action. But it's not a good choice if the situation is urgent, as this style can take too long. The next style is no advocacy and no inquiry. In other words, not a lot is happening in terms of engaging, and there are no statements or questions either. This style is useful when you want to observe a situation and not contribute. So, for example, where you need to find information out in a less direct way. But it can create difficulty if you frequently withhold your views on key issues. The final style is lots of advocacy and no inquiry. In other words, lots of statements and few questions. This approach is useful for giving information and in emergency situations. But this is a one-way communication, so it doesn't enhance understanding of different perspectives, and it also doesn't build commitment to a form of action. This style usually creates compliance or resistance in others. To get the most from this model, be aware of which style you tend to prefer and the effect this may have on your conversation. Have a think about which style you use when under pressure. Is it getting the results you want? Then identify a meeting or conversation where you need a specific outcome and consciously match your levels of advocacy and inquiry to achieve your outcome. Remember, inquiry shows you are open to influence, and advocating means you have strong ideas. Both of these approaches have benefits and risks. The key is to be aware and demonstrate flexibility in your approach depending on the situation.